What's up, everyone? And how do we actually deploy Python application into the AWS Lambda? And in order to do that, we have to know several things. So I just want to show you that everything is up and running. So I'm going to run the test. And as you can see, it says succeeded, even though I have KRS, VG library, Telegram library, Pandas library, and Chess library. So many libraries I have, and all of them are running without an error. And the reason why they're running that good is because I used layers. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how you can structurize your code so that you know everything what is going on with the libraries on your AWS Lambda. Basically what we're going to do, we're going to split every library one by one so that everything is lined up in the layers. And we see everything and we can have a control over every single thing here. So basically today's application is a Telegram script, which basically does what it does is that it sends a daily puzzle every single day into a Telegram channel. And in order to demonstrate to you that, I'm just going to run the script, Command R, and here's my Telegram. And as you can see, we got a new image, and we just ran the script, and it worked out. And that's a basically problem of a day. And it has rating and all of that. So it doesn't matter right now. It's just the script. But we're gonna go over it. So let's go. So let's first of all let's clear the terminal, and I want to create a virtual environment. I forgot to delete it from the last time. So because I'm already trying to redo this video several times, so it's a little bit frustrating. But I hope this would be the last one. So I want to, first of all, let's create the environment. So we're going to say Python 3.13. You use the version, whichever version you have. I highly encourage you to use over 3.10 version. 3.9 may still work, but just make sure that you're not running into issues that I won't run into. But basically, yeah, so in order to create the environment, you say -m, and then you're saying venv, which stands for the virtual environment, and then you're saying the name of the environment, which I'm going to call as .venv, and press enter. So now we have our virtual environment right here. And I already set it here, unfortunately, but basically you just choose here the virtual environment you set up. Basically, I'm going to choose this one right now here. Okay, cool. And in order to have our virtual environment in our terminal, we have to run this command, which is basically activates our environment. So as you can see, now I'm in the actual environment. Actually, let me remove the terminal and go into that environment again. So now I'm in this environment. Cool. Now we're going to install our requirements.txt files. So let's do that. Basically you're going to have everything that I have here in the description. So just don't worry. It's all going to be out there. So let's press enter and have our requirements installed. And once they're installed, these underlines have to disappear, I believe. So yeah, okay, so here we are. Now we're ready to package everything. So let's do that. Now, this is basically, yep, we went through the step 1 and step 2, and step 3 is going to be this. So first of all, we're going to create a new directories, which are going to be right here. It's going to be AWS-packages directory. Inside this directory, we're going to run this Docker. If you don't have Docker, just install it from the Chrome, and you're going to have something like this. And as you can see, it's up and running. And basically, then you can use these command to have it work. And as you can see, it's working. Now, there's several things here to outline. First thing is, why do I use the different version of Python with the Docker instead of using the same one? And the answer on this would be right here. So I have this image over here, which is basically shows the Python versions that you can use. And as you can see, 3.13 and 3.12 is running on Amazon Linux 2023. and 3.11 is still running on Amazon Linux 2. Basically what it says is that in Amazon Linux 2 you can still use some external install some external libraries. What I mean by that is let's go over here and let's just, for instance, actually let me close this. Let's say quit or actually exit. And what I'm going to do right now is copy the same command, and I want to make it 13. All right. So here we have our Python 3.13. As you can see, it has a different version here. This was 4.2. This is 5.2, kind of updated. And later in this video, we have the following command. As you can see, it says yum update -y. Now let me copy this command and paste it in here and see what happens. Nothing. And the reason for that is that they basically optimized the whole thing. We have a link here, and you're gonna find the link over there. It's right here. And what they did is that for 3.12 and 3.13, we don't anymore have these packages, package managers, or whatever they are. So I can't use yum anymore. And basically, I want to use yum. And in order to use it, I have to use Python 3.11. And that's basically the reason why I have this difference in the Python versions. And you got to realize that. And it's not going to lead us to any, like, errors, at least not in this video, okay? So let's exit it. And I hope I explained it. It's basically pretty self-explanatory, I think. Yeah, so right now, what we're going to do right now. So we're going to run the same thing again. So here's our step 3. So I just want to make you understand those things so that you don't run into the issues that you shouldn't run into. And so once it's here, I want to check the Python versions, and it's 3.11. That's exactly what I wanted. And I want to check the pip3 version, which is 24.0. We had 24.2, so it's not a big deal. And once these are so these are the things that we have to check. Once this is done, I want to check that we are using this architecture. It's important because once when we're gonna go here, I want to make sure that we're using ARM64. And the reason for that is that Cairo SVG doesn't work with the different architecture, which is called, I forgot how it's called. It's x86_64. I couldn't make it work. Probably someone can, but I literally spent whole yesterday and have today to solve this issue and finally have it work and running. So just let's make sure that we have this architecture system, because if we're not going to have this, and as you can see we have this architecture, which is good, if we're not going to have it, we're going to run into the issues, and I spent over a day to fix all those issues. So I hope you appreciate that. Okay, at least you appreciate that. Now we are inside /var/task, and it's the exact directory that we should be in. And now I want to create these directories, but it's not going to work. So we're first what we're going to do, we're going to create chess directory. Then we're going to create python-telegram-bot directory, and then we're going to create a Cairo SVG directory. So let's create these 3 directories, and it says cannot create directory chess file exists. Oh, yeah. Here's the deal. I'm doing it in the already in the made project, so we have to make it here. Yep. So now we have these 3 folders, and now we're gonna create Python folder in each of them. So basically what I'm gonna say is we're gonna have Python in chess, and then we're gonna have this also Python, I gotta type it. I can't just copy everything. So Python here, and we're gonna have an extra directory in Cairo SVG, which is gonna be called lib, because it depends on the external libraries, and that's kind of. So the beauty of this video is that we're not just delving into the simple libraries that can be installed just without external dependencies, but we're delving into the things that require external dependencies so that you can work on it later on and you know how to deal with that, okay? So now we're going to check if we have all these directories, and we have them. We're going to dive into the next step, and as you can see, I wrote here, we ignore pandas because it's available by default in AWS Lambda. So we're good to go with that. And now we're going to create, basically now we're going to install all of the dependencies that we need to install. So first is going to be the chess dependency, and if I'm going to open the chess folder and it's actually opened, it has to be installed. And for some reason, yeah, okay, so it's installed. Now the next thing would be our Python Telegram bot that we're going to install, and the last thing would be Cairo SVG that has to be installed. Okay, so these are pretty huge. All right, so that should be the last one. Yeah, all right, let's just wait. So now I'm going to use this yum update -y. The function that I told you can use on the versions 3.12 and 3.13. I don't know why they did that. They were just trying to optimize things more and more so that you are without excuse. I'm just kidding. So yum update -y. Let's run this. Basically, it's not going to change anything, but we're just doing that in case if there's any change whatsoever. Now we're going to run this thing, and you may ask, what is this whatsoever? And basically, these are the external dependencies that I just told you about. These are the dependencies that we have to have in order to run our Cairo SVG library. So let's copy this whole thing except zip. We need zip in order to zip the things. So it's not anyhow related to Cairo. So we're just installing it by the way, and it kind of takes. Yeah, it takes a lot of time to make it done. All right, so it basically says no packages marked for update. So now let's install all these dependencies. And if you already noticed, I have incorrect here. And basically what it says here is that we have apt-get update and apt-get install in all these libraries. And the reason why it's incorrect is now we're gonna delve into it. So watch this. Now I basically asked ChatGPT the difference, and as you can see, apt-get. So I wanna have it zoomed in here. apt-get or apt-get, however you pronounce that, it works for Debian and Ubuntu, okay? But by the way, I don't know how to pronounce that. If I pronounce it differently, just correct me in the comments below. That would be a great thing. And if there are certain things that I'm saying incorrectly or anything like that, I would greatly appreciate that if you would really, like, say it in the comments, because I like to learn. So, yeah, the reason why I'm saying that, because it's English is not my native language, so I may say some mistakes. So apologize for that. Basically, Yum is basically what it does is that it runs Amazon Linux, and Amazon Linux is the exact thing that we want to run our environment in, because with this thing you're gonna run into errors, and that's what I did yesterday and today, and until I finally realized that I have to use Amazon Linux environment, and that's the main reason behind that we use yum instead of apt-get. And that's very important, because if you don't have yum, you won't probably be able to do anything whatsoever, or you might be, but you're gonna run into errors at some point. And actually, what is this whole thing here? Yeah, it just says yeah. It's right. It says the dependence is installed. All right. So now once you realize this, I just want to point out that if you would, I didn't what is that called? Um, what the English is so hard. So we didn't pay attention to this line of code, and this is basically the line of code that doesn't provide you with yum. It provides apt-get, and if you run this one, you're not gonna make your Cairo SVG work. And I just want to make sure that you realize that. Okay, so I mean, now you realize that, right? So we're not gonna use this. I just make sure that you know what and when to use. Now we're gonna check out where's our libcairo.so.2, and this is basically the external dependency that we need to have in our layers in AWS Lambda. So as you can see, I know now the path where that is, and I'm going to say ldd this, and this basically shows all the what this depends on. Okay, so all these things. So what I could have done right now is I could have copied this code and go over here and basically take this bunch here and delete this and then say cp, and then say the folders where we want to copy this into. But I'm not going to do that because I already prepared it for you, so you don't need to do all this kind of well, there's a bad word for this, and we're not going to use the bad word. So I'm gonna use Option Shift. So I already prepared it for you, so you can just copy it and copy paste and whichever. But make sure that you have every dependency that there should be. You have to check yourself whether you have all these dependencies or not, because if you don't have all these dependencies, you're going to run into error and no one is going to help you. Okay, so just make sure that but as of now, these are all the external dependencies that we have to have. Okay, so what I'm basically doing right now, I'm copying them in this terminal. I paste it in and paste in the last one. So, and now in this lib or library directory, we have to have all these SO files. Now let's open it, and as you can see, all of our external dependencies are here right now, and that's exactly how our layer should be structured. We have our external dependencies in library, and we have our environment and Python libraries in the folder Python, and that's really the main point, the whole thing. Now we're gonna check whether it works or not, because if we're gonna go to chess and if we're gonna go to Python Telegram bot, they are working. They don't have any they don't have to have an external dependencies. It's not the case with them. I am working with the Cairo SVG in order to show you how to work with the with hard cases, with difficult cases where you can't just use the easy libraries that have no external dependencies. And I also pointed out that there's a bunch of incorrect ones. It's when you use apt-get, and well, that's not the case with us, so we're good to go. Now I want to test it out. So basically you can run this test since we have the same Docker and container, because it's the same for everyone. Now we created a new file test.py inside of our Cairo SVG Python, and here this file is. It's empty for now, but what we're going to do right now is to put some code into. Let's use cat to put code into, and as you can see, as I outlined here, copy the content of test.txt. So we're going to go to test.txt, which is right here, and we're going to copy this content, paste it in here, and press Ctrl D. And actually Command D. Actually Ctrl D. Yes, Ctrl D. Cool. And here's our code. Cool. So it's good. Now we're gonna run it, right? So let's go back to our manual or our instruction or guideline, whichever, and we're gonna run it. So let's use Python, and that's the moment of truth, whether it runs or not. If it runs, we're gonna have a PNG image converted from SVG. So let's press enter. And as you can see, SVG successfully rendered, and here's our PNG image. So everything is working. So we're gonna delete our test file then, and we're gonna dive into the actual part. Actually, first we have to zip them all up and dive into the actual part of deploying everything on the website on AWS Lambda function. So let's first zip whichever Kara SVG. Let's zip it up. And here's our zip. So I want to make sure that it's ready, so it's good to go. Now, if you have this one, it's basically extensions, and it's marquee, and here it is. Basically, I created it. I just created because I couldn't find any good extension that would allow me to highlight files, to put my custom icons here, and so I just decided to create mine. It's not an advertisement, just if you want. I mean, I don't force anyone. It's free. So let's unmark basically, and I like to mark them because it's more easy for me to deal with the files in my structure. So I like to highlight our zip files like this, so I know that these are our exports that we're gonna use. But anyway, so it's not the main topic of this video. So let's make render Telegram. Let's render it. So let's select and have the 7th, and this is ready right now too, so it's good to go. Let's close it. And the last one is chess. So we're left with chess, and here's our command for chess. I would highly encourage you to follow along with me, since I'm doing this project. You can do this project. I'm not sure if I'm gonna change the IP keys, but I probably I should. I'm probably gonna delete them. So if you really want to use that, you gotta create your API keys. It's not a hard thing to do. So let's mark it with the 7. Color 7, and I'm interested in chess, and say that it's ready to go. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the main part, which is level 2, basically deploy everything in AWS Lambda, and let's dive right into it. So everything is done here. Like, as of now, you can just delete this image and it's done. It's completely done. We can even exit this, because we don't need it anymore. We can just close our terminal here. Okay, so let's go to our AWS and create a new function. So this function is just, let us stay here. I just want to create a new one. So let's create a function that we're gonna call YT, which stands for YouTube, and how do I call the directory that YouTube Lambda. Okay, here we are. We're gonna use Python. Now I want to say that we are going to use Python 3.13, but there's a problem over there. So pandas, it starts to work with the 3.12 version. It doesn't work with 3.13. Now there's a different problem. We installed our Kara SVG in 3.11 version. Remember? While we were still in the terminal, unfortunately I closed it, but it was, remember that we checked it, it was 11. It was 3.11. So we have to use 3.11. Otherwise, Kara SVG will not work. Here is also important thing. I would have used x86 underline 64, but the problem is that, again, when we checked where's the readme MD, when we checked the architecture, remember what it was? It was where is that? Yes, it was ARM64. So we cannot use this, or otherwise we're gonna run into an error. So we're gonna use ARM64, and I want to also outline that our chess and Python Telegram bot, these two folders, it doesn't matter for them whether you use x84 underline 64 or ARM64, it doesn't matter for them, but it matters for Kara SVG, and that's the whole point. So you gotta know whether your libraries work with certain architectures or with certain Python versions. That's important. This is the point that I wanted to outline. So let's create a function right now, because since that's the whole thing here. Hopefully I explained it pretty logically so that it's not hard to understand. So now here we are. We're gonna create new layers. I'm gonna click on layers. I'm gonna be here at the bottom of the website, and I'm gonna create a new layer. But we don't have any layer. We didn't create any layer before. So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna press Command and create a new layers. So I'm going to, I'm going to go to the layers. And as you can see, I did, several tests, but it's not the point. You're going to have an app, you're going to have it empty, and we're going to create everything from scratch right now. So here's the thing. Actually, we can have it somewhere here so that we are closer to our working directory. So here's the deal. First, I want to import, let's say, Cairo SVG, okay? So I would call it Cairo SVG, and I would make a prefix, YT, stands for YouTube, just in case. Now for description, I like to say something like pip3, install, and Cairo SVG. Just the library, just how would you do that in the terminal, Now we're gonna install it from the zip file since we zipped everything, and I want to say that it works only with ARM64, again because we used ARM64 to install everything, and it's not gonna work with x86 _64. So you should remove the mark from this and leave it only on ARM64. Now let's upload the file right now. And let's see where it goes. As you can see, these are all my tries to record this video. And that's just, should I say insane? So we were working with YT-Lambda, and we have it in AWS packages, and we have it in Cairo SVG. And here is the file. Let's open it, and let's choose the versions with which it's going to work. And it's going to work only with one version of Python, which is 3.11. And for the license, I'm going to say MIT. Create, or MIT. Yeah, I can say MIT. It's just MIT. Always forget that. Unfortunately. Or fortunately, who knows. So while it's creating a new layer, you know what? We're going to just wait, because we're not hurrying anywhere. It should create it pretty quickly. So the next one is going to be chess. So now we're gonna work in chess. As you can see, it's created. So let's go back into the layers. You don't see it now created, but it's because it just I didn't refresh it, so it's just cookies or cache. Let's create a new one. I'm gonna call it chess, and again, prefix is YT-. For description, I'm going to say pip3 install chess. Just how would you do it in the terminal? Again, let's upload it, and it's going to be from the chess folder and the zip file. And this one works with x86 _64 and with ARM64, so it's compatible with all of them. Because I just know it works with them. And it also works with 3.12, 11, 10, and 13. It works with all of them, and I guess even with 3.9. But we're going to have just 4 versions of here. And MIT again. And we chose the runtimes, we chose the compatible architectures, and that's pretty much about it. Let's create this new layer. And the last layer is going to be our Python Telegram bot, and I just copied it so that we can make it quickly. So this one is running now. It's not running, it's created. And let's create the last one, which is going to be this one. I have to use underscores because otherwise I'm not going to pass the... Actually, I shouldn't. Wait, I just used YT-, right? So that should work. So, and then we're gonna have pip3 install. You shouldn't write this here. You can write whatever description you want. It's optional, but I just do it because it's easier for me to work with this way. So let's import the last zip file that we have, zip layer that we have, and it's also compatible with 8664 and ARM64. So, and it's also, I believe, compatible with 10, 11, 12, and 13. And again, MIT. It doesn't matter whichever license you use. It's just like I don't have any rows, so it's optional too. It doesn't make any sense though that I say that. I just, I get used to do it this way. So let's create. And that's pretty much it. We're done with all the layers. We're gonna check it right now whether it works or not. So I already can go back here, and I believe I can click add a layer, and first layer that we are going to add is going to be pandas. And this layer you can find here, AWS layers. It's predefined layers. It's the default layers. It's the most popular layers. That's why they're already here and you don't need to do anything. But someone before you, like years ago, did the same process that I did today. And you just know now how it works, okay? So let's choose where's the pandas? Okay, here's the thing. Check that it's 11. Actually, it's by default, it's gonna offer you 11 since your runtime is 11. But if you're gonna, mess around there and get 12 somehow, wouldn't have 13, but whichever, just make sure it's 11, that it corresponds to your Python runtime, and whichever version it provides, we're gonna use. So let's add this first layer. So as you can see, we have a first layer here. Now let's click again here and add a new layer, and we're done with this layer, I guess. Yep. So, and here we're going to use the custom layers. Now, whenever there is no layer here in AWS layers, you have to create your own, and we're going to create custom layers. And as you can see, I have a whole bunch of them, but the ones that I created today were, or actually now, were these three. So first one, I'm going to, as it was YT-SVG and first version, which is obviously first because I just created it, and I didn't do any other versions. Now we're going to add a different layer, which is going to be the next one, chess, and again, version 1. Let's add this layer, and the last layer would be, actually you have to wait, because if you don't wait for this to be done, if you don't wait, you're going to get an error. So you have to wait once it's successfully updated. So let's add last layer, which is going to be our Python Telegram bot layer. And again, version 1, and just add. And now what I can do is just go back here, copy this whole thing in, and paste it in here. And basically that's it. You see, I have four layers, and each layer, basically, my first layer says, here's pandas. My second layer says, here's chess. My second layer is SVG, and my third layer is chess, and my fourth layer is Telegram, and that's it. I have all my libraries and stuff. Async, or however you pronounce it, it's the default library with Python. You don't need to install this. Datetime, it's the default library. You don't need to install this. Everything else is installed now. So we have every layer. And I copied the whole code into this new design, because as you can see, it says you can switch to the old editor, but I like these more because this editor is just like Visual Studio Code. I bet it's the Visual Studio Code. They just did some custom things here. Now, it's important to note here is that you see I have this commented here. Commented. I hope I pronounced it the right way. We're going to uncomment this whole thing here. And actually, let's make sure that this is right. It's correct here. And we're going to remove this thing from here. And the reason for that is if you go back here, you see it says handler, and then it says this. What is this? Handler, the first thing here before the dot is basically the name of our file. And as you can see, the name of our file is lambda underscore function, right? And the second thing after the dot is basically lambda handler is a function itself. And here's our function. Now, if you would have created a new folder, Python, and inside this Python you would put the Lambda function, file, you would have to say lambda function dot python, which is directory, and then this the actual function. But we're not going to go into it because it just doesn't make sense. I just make sure that you understand how that works. And there's a different problem here. We don't have this file here, right? We don't have this CSV file. So how do we deal with that? And we don't have a sets folder, right? So what we're going to do, as you can see, I can't create folder, right? But I can upload some things. And what I'm going to upload is the whole folder. Actually, I can't upload the whole folder. But basically, I'm not, you know what? We're going to create a folder. Once the folder is created, inside this folder, I want to put a new file. And actually, no, I'm gonna upload. And I am going to go to our assets and upload. I'm not gonna upload all of these because one of the files is basically 792 megabytes, and which is quite a lot. If you want to have an optimized performance, you have to have less than 3, which is 15K batch. Basically, the reason why it's called 15K is because there is 15 grands. Can I say 15 grands? No, I can't say that. It's probably only for money. Basically 15,000 lines here, and it takes 2.8 megabytes, and it's going to be perform. Let's put it this way. It's going to perform. So now we have nothing to do. Like, there's nothing left to do. Basically, that's the whole thing. Sometimes people forget about these two arguments. I actually read before into these issues with the argument. So you have to have the arguments. It's going to be event, and it's going to be a context argument. And you know what? I'm going to deploy this file because it's actually, I am not deploying just the file, but I'm deploying this folder and this file as well. So you got to realize that. And that's the reason why you don't want to, have 700 megabytes file, because it's going to deploy it forever. Not forever, but I mean, like, it can just give you an error, because I don't think that you even can upload 700. Yeah, you can. You can upload less than 260, I bet, but no more than that, I guess. Though don't quote me on that. And now we're going to create a new test event and see whether our Lambda function works or not. So I usually call it test, and that's it. I just save it. That's the whole point. And now I just close it. And now the moment of truth. I have this code right now in Amazon Lambda function. It's not my computer anymore. It's here. And the real question here now, I hope that will work, because whether it works or not. And if that works, I'm going to have a new message here that is going to come here in several seconds. Now memorize it was 2233 or 2233. Now let's go here and run it. And that's kind of the moment of truth. I really hope that there's not going to be an error. And let's go here. Please. I hope we're going to get a new message. And it feels like, no, not really. All right, what do we run into? It says, yes, of course. It's good that we ran into this kind of error. Now, as you can see, it says that the error, it was over 3.17 seconds. In fact, our runtime was 3.17 seconds. And what you always have to realize, if your script is kind of huge, like this one, it's not huge though, but it's quite a bit. You have to wait here, and who knows if that will take 10 seconds. So what you have to do, and it's pretty good that we ran into this kind of error, is you have to go to configuration, and you have to change timeout. You go to edit, and you say, usually I say like 1 minute or 30 seconds, but I would rather say 30 seconds so you didn't pay much. Because 1 minute, of course, you'd have to pay a little bit more, although it's still like, it's not much. So let's save it for 30 seconds. And now I want to say it's going to work. Let's see. So let's run. And let's see whether we get a new message or not. Do we? Yes. You guys see? That worked out. No errors whatsoever. And I want to point out again, we had an library with external dependencies, and we managed to have this library working here. And as you can see, status is succeeded. Now you may ask me, like, the video right now is done. That's it. But you may ask me, like, what's the point? Like, of course, like, I have this function, but why can't I, run this function every single time on my local machine? Why should I put it in Lambda? And personally, the reason was because I was looking for a schedule, and the machine that would constantly run it every single day. That's what I said at the beginning. It's the daily chess puzzle. It has to run every single day, and I don't want to wake up every single morning at 7:10 a.m. and run this script and make sure that I wake up every single day at 7:10. That's not the point. I want to have it automized. Or is there what? I'm sure there's a word automation. Is there a word automized? Yeah, there is one.
Automatized.
Oh, automatized. Yeah. That you see, that's what I'm saying. It's I don't know some words, and that's the whole point. And in order to run into schedule, actually, if you want to have me to create a video with the schedule, we can do that. In fact, I have my one function here, and it's my magic chess, and it has a schedule there, and it's gonna run every single morning at 7:10 a.m. and it's gonna make every single day at 7 a.m. in the morning a new message with the chess puzzle, Yeah. So now that's the whole thing, and I hope that was helpful. Now, if you want to support this video, I have one thing to do. Now, you may ask, like, what's the point? Why do I advertise this? But, well, if I could have, I would have promised you that it's gonna change your life. But, you gotta decide yourselves whether you want to support me this way or not. So what I want to do is I just want to have you read the first chapter, and that's it. I'm not asking for likes or comments or for downloading my library with the highlights. I'm not asking for that. Neither am I asking for a subscription. The only thing I ask for is to read this chapter, and it's going to be in the description. But I'm not forcing anyone. It's just like, if that's me. I mean, that's how you can support me. That's about it. Probably it's a little bit weird, but yeah. So that's the only way to support me, and I hope this video was helpful. And it's ultimately it's good to have these things, but it's yeah. So hope it was helpful. Have a great day, guys. Appreciate your time.